We're back, and today we're going to talk about humidifiers. If you've got static electricity in your house, dry, itchy skin, you're going to want to listen to this episode today. We're going to talk about humidifiers today. Santos?
Well, again, glad to be back. Thank you, Jeff. You know, one of the things that we're having this video today is because you guys participated so well in our poll, and Jeff and I felt the need to talk about what humidifiers do, as a lot of the folks out there don't necessarily know how humidifiers impact the inside of their house.
Absolutely. You know, in front of us we've got three of the most common types. Bypass, fan power, and steam. They all three operate in generally the same way. Slight variances and definitely a price tag difference between the three of them. The most common you're going to see in most of your homes is going to be right here, and this is your bypass humidifier. It relies on taking air from the supply in your basement, blowing through a wicking pad that the water runs across, and it actually returns that humidification into the return ductwork. Where the humidity becomes very crucial in your house, static electricity, dry, itchy skin, if you have a lot of hardwood furniture, things of that nature, you're definitely going to want to keep that humidification level in the house.
Okay, awesome. Well, I know you said we have the big three here of humidifiers. Are there other humidifier types that, you know, maybe in older houses or maybe just even older humidifier models that are out there for individuals to know about?
There sure is. Although these are the top three, there is some other brands out there. There is a misting type humidifier, and there's also a drip style humidifier. Not very common, but we do encounter those from time to time. Typically when we do, they're either not in operation anymore, or we're pulling those out to replace them with one of these much better solutions.
So, Jeff, we're talking about the big three here and what they do in our house. To walk us through now what they actually do. What is their job? How do they operate?
So, within these two humidifiers, not like this one, air actually gets brought in. So, with this style on a bypass, the furnace is actually blowing air through here. As it comes around, you've got a water line that is controlled by this humidistat. It will actually drip water down through this pad. This pad needs to be changed yearly. It holds a lot of mold, bacteria, things of that nature, so you definitely want to get it changed out. It also, over time, becomes dry and brittle. It'll turn to dust. That just blows into the house. Whole other mess. That air comes through here, and once it's blowing through this wicking pad, it actually gets drawn back into the furnace, and that's where it gets distributed out to the house. Real similar operation in the fan operation, except for this, you won't have the pipe coming off the side of your furnace to blow into the humidifier. These are typically in a situation where maybe space is limited, and we don't have room for this auxiliary ductwork. This actually has an onboard fan that's powered by 110 volts. The same components inside. It has the wicking pad. You've got a humidistat. That's the control. It's kind of like a thermostat for the humidifier, and it'll actually produce its own airflow and draw it in and turn around and force it right back into the ductwork.
Wow, okay. And then the steam?
Steam's a lot different. So steam actually has a tank inside of it. Steam, these are your higher end models. Typically they're ran with the digital humidistat. These can also be controlled with your thermostat up on the wall. A lot of times what we're doing here, these can be mounted remote. So we could put this over on the wall. And with this black hose, it actually produces steam inside of a canister and injects it into the ductwork directly. This is your most effective method of humidification that we have right now. Real similar to like a tabletop humidifier that you may have upstairs. You see the steam coming off of it. That's the kind of result you're going to get with this.
Awesome. Okay, so we talked about how they work. We talk about, the most effective. Now, when we're talking about maintenance, you said with the pad we have to do it about annually. Mm-hmm. Is that the case with all three of these here?
Yes. And actually, what I don't have out is there is a canister in here that does need to be changed annually, so there is some maintenance that comes with it. Sure, you want to run it without it, that's fine. But let's be honest, it's going to cost you in the end if you don't change it.
All right, Jeff. So I know we've kind of gone into the details a little bit on these specific humidifiers here, but when we're talking about water consumption and how they actually, are implementing humidification inside the house, what water are we using here?
Sure. So we're using regular house water that you have coming through your pipes.
Okay.
Typically, between these two, you can range anywhere from 3 to 10 gallons used per hour. Now, it's not just wasting the water. As we discussed it earlier, the water is actually running across this pad. But by design, it's coming through the pad, and it's got to go somewhere. Where does it go? Right through your floor drain. In a unit like this with the steam humidification, we're actually not really wasting any water. These will produce up to 20 gallons of steam a day. That's a lot of steam. Typically, on average, they clean themselves automatically. That can happen daily. That can happen once a week. It's based off of run cycles, so how often it's running. This will actually drain itself automatically, and usually you're losing about a half gallon of water, somewhere in that neighborhood, a day, compared to hourly using 3 to 10 gallons based on which size you get. So there's definitely some water differences there. Now with steam humidification, it's a little bit different. These units actually require the gas furnace to be running. With that said, thermostat comes on, turns on the gas heat, you hear it fire off, it starts running. That's when these kick in. The little valves over here will start letting the water start trickling. But as soon as that furnace shuts off, your humidification is over. With the steam humidifier, that's totally different. This particular unit will actually turn the furnace fan on without bringing on the heat. So what that's doing is it'll actually produce the heat inside that it needs to produce, turn that into steam, turn the water into steam, and then inject that directly into the ductwork. That's a huge benefit when you've got wood floors, maybe some antique furniture or wood furniture around the house. Cigar humidors is another large one where you just want to keep everything humidified. Maybe you've got artwork on the walls. These things can get your humidity spot on.
So when we're talking about humidifiers, that's it.
The Aprilaire 800 steam humidifier is the way to go.
All righty. Well, we heard it there first, folks.
Well, there you go, folks. That's humidifiers in a nutshell. If you want to know more, please give me a call. 635-0474. I'd love to come out and get you an estimate. We're a full-line Aprilaire dealer. So once again, anybody has any humidification questions, give us a call. 635-0474.